Okay, so how does visualization work? Visualization requires us to focus, to really focus on what it is that we are trying to achieve. Really see it, feel it, sense it, right? Smell it, taste it, touch it, pull in as many senses as possible and the feelings that go along with those senses as we're starting to see the pictures of where it is that we are going. Visualization can be for long term or it can be for short term. Sometimes, it's a little hard as you start doing it, but it's just like anything. The more that you practice it, the better that you get at it, and before you know it, you're able to really create, clear images. So it can take some time. Napoleon Hill suggests setting a timeline for that visualization. Dave Austin also does. He says that when you're doing visualization, you want to describe, then you want to make sure that you have a purpose, a strategy, and a timeline. And so as you start setting your goals, then you really want to be able to kind of, visualize it. There's 4 basic ways that we can do visualization. So one is called vision boards, and I use a poster board. And you take pictures that mean something to you, where you're trying to go, where you're trying to. And then you tie positive statements to those pictures so that every time you look at those pictures, you imagine yourself where it is that you want to be. So, for instance, I have a picture on my vision board that is a woman standing on a dock and she's doing a karate kick, and there's water all in the background. And so for me, it's super fitting because I envision that that's on the lake that I swim at all the time. And every time that I look at that, I think of myself as being a black belt. And then the affirmation that, I go along with it is that I am an inspirational example to others. And so every time I see that picture, I think of myself as a black belt, and then I say, I am an inspirational example to others. And so that's just, I just automatically do it every time I see the picture. And so that's one of the ways that, we help to be able to get to where we want to go. So pen and paper is another one. There is a connection between actually writing things down versus typing them on the computer. And so, really in detail, writing out exactly what does it feel like. So for me, like being a black belt, right? What exactly does it feel like to me being a black belt? That I've achieved these skills, that I have confidence, that I have agility, that I have stamina, that I have excellent health. And that I have that ability to be able to really focus and turn inward to be able to achieve the things in life that I want to be able to achieve. So that's how I think about, being a black belt. And as I think about that, then every time I look at that picture, those are the things that I'm thinking. And then I'm trying to actually bring those characteristics into my life every day because I see myself as already having achieved that black belt. So really, you want to be as detailed as possible when you take the pen to paper. Really write it down. Be very, very specific. Darren Hardy, the author of The Compound Effect, he said that he used visualization and writing it down to bring to him his wife. And they've been married for a long time. But he wasn't married. He knew exactly the woman that he wanted to marry. He wrote down in detail everything about her, all her characteristic traits, every last little detail about her. And then he started looking and saying, okay, what kind of a man do I need to be able to attract this woman into my life? And so he started changing simply because he had such a strong vision of this woman that he wanted to marry. And lo and behold, this woman showed up in his life and he married her. And so it is, it's powerful because it's speaking to our subconscious mind. Remember that our subconscious mind is the filter. It's changing the filters. And so the more that once we create this on pen and paper, Napoleon Hill suggests that you read it out loud twice a day, first thing in the morning when you wake up and last thing at night before you go to bed. And those are the times where our subconscious mind is most susceptible without resistance to receiving information that we feed it. And that's why he suggests that we read them at those times. So every day in the morning when you first wake up and at night before you go to bed, you read that pen and paper visualization. Another is meditation, and meditation is really very important. For people that are religious in nature, prayer is actually a form of meditation. Most people don't realize it, but there are so many health benefits to meditation. It can lower your blood pressure, it can lower your heart rate, it decreases the amount of stress that you have in your life. It actually promotes overall good health. So John Assaraf recommends doing meditation. He said minimally 7 minutes a day, ideally at the same time every day. If you can do it multiple times during the day, that's great. But he said minimally 7 minutes a day, for as long as a half an hour is ideal. And he says you start by doing 3 deep breaths. So in through the nose, out through the mouth. You do that 3 times. Dave Austin says that as you're breathing out through the mouth, you let go of any worry, any anxiety, any fears that you have. And then after that, you close your eyes and you simply breathe in and out through your nose, and you concentrate on feeling the air come up in through your nose and then feeling the air come out through your nose. And every time that you find your mind wandering, and in the beginning it wanders all the time, I am still developing this skill, you just gently bring it back to concentrating on feeling the air come in through your nose, feeling it out again. And the longer that you do that, it's kind of like recharging. It just kind of brings you into a deeper sense. So it brings you beyond if you start going into the waves of thought consciousness, it brings you into a more relaxed state, and it allows you to be able to accomplish more things faster, better. You're more productive. Your thought is better. You're more clarity by being able to practice meditation. And so then as you do the guided meditation, or even if it's not, if you're just doing the breathing in and out, once you get into that deeply relaxed state, minimal 7 minutes doing the breathing, right? Then start bringing that image into your mind of where it is that where you see yourself, your future self. What does your future self look like? And what can you do that you can't do right now? Or so you start thinking about those things and create that nice clear image in your mind. So going back to me being a black belt, physically there's things that I right now am not capable of doing that I know that as a black belt I will be doing. And so as I do that meditation and I'm thinking of myself as a black belt, right, I'm thinking of myself in those positions. I'm thinking of myself being able to get down on the ground and jump back up again without even using my hands. And some of some things, for me, they're a little scary in karate, right? Because I have this fear that I'm going to get hurt if I fall. And then I fell, and, I was sore for a little while, but I didn't get hurt. And so you need to be able to then just say, it's good, I can do this, and I'm strong, and I'm flexible, and I'm agile, and I'm like a bouncing ball. So, but you have to be able to visualize yourself doing that. And so then that's what it is I visualize myself doing these things, as a black belt, and that I've got this state of health that allows me to be able to do it. I've also got this state of mind that allows me to do it as well. So just important to really be thinking about that. So the power of visualization is that once our subconscious mind, right? We think all these thoughts. I think, what did I say? 65,000 thoughts a day, and we don't really know that we're thinking that many thoughts because they're all in our subconscious mind. But our subconscious mind remembers thoughts that we put into our head, especially if they're impactful. So let me give you an example. Think about September 11th, 2001, where you were, what you were doing. Now think about September 11th, 2002. Can you remember where you were, what you were doing? 9/11 was such an emotionally impactful day for most people that what we were doing on that day comes back to our thoughts very quickly, very easily. I can remember exactly, that I had headed into work. I was a little bit late. The surveyors were at work, and I got out of one breath from one person, the surveyors are here, and the next breath, did you hear what happened? And I'm like, no, what happened? And I was chasing televisions all day, trying to really be able to grasp what it was that happened. And then I came home and for hours just watched the television, like totally dumbfounded and almost in shock that something so devastating could happen. September 11th, 2002, I don't really remember it, right? Because it wasn't that emotional impact. So John Assaraf, he is the author of the book The Answer, and also the founder of the NeuroGym. He shares a story about how he really realized the impact of visualization. So he had just moved into a new home in San Diego, and he had had a lot of boxes and stuff that were in storage. It had been in storage for 5 years. And everything got brought back from storage, and he was sitting at his desk just checking some emails, and his 6-year-old son was sitting on a box banging his feet against him. And he says to his son, Keenan, can you, stop banging your feet? Daddy's trying to just do a little bit of work here. And so, his son says, well, what's in the boxes, Daddy? And so he looks and he sees the writing on the outside of the box that says vision boards. And so he said, oh, there's vision boards in that box. And so his son is like, well, what are vision boards? And so, resisting the urge to just kind of brush off the question and finish what he was doing, he decided he would just show his son what vision boards were. And as he opened the box and took out, vision boards, he pulled out this one particular board that had pasted on it a picture of a house. It was a, enormous house, beautiful. I think he says it has 188 windows, right? But as he's looking at this house, he's dumbfounded because this is the exact house that he is actually living in. It is the house that they just purchased and were moving into. And these boxes have been in storage for more than 5 years. He had pasted this from a magazine onto his vision board as being the home that he wanted to live in. He had no idea where the home was. He had no idea, anything about the home. And yet 5 years later, he actually moved into that home. And he realized that the vision boards, it isn't coincidence. It's really, so then he set to work and has devoted the rest of his life ever since being able to understand the science behind how the vision boards work. So we're not going to go into the science, but important to really be able to understand that if we really impress upon our subconscious minds what it is that we want, our subconscious mind's going to help us to get it as long as we take the action steps that it guides us to be able to take. So that's the third. Did I say there was 4 ways? Because I only have 4. Okay. And the last is mind movies. So Natalie Ledwell, I did one of her programs a while back called Ultimate Success Mastermind. And she has this program that she calls Mind Movies. And what it is she realizes that people really resonate to music. And that certain music, if you play it, right, and it's a song that really, it reaches you emotionally. It really strongly reaches you emotionally. So she said, what if we take these images and then we also tie it together with the movies? So created this program called Mind Movies, and you could do it with a PowerPoint presentation and then just put your music in the background if you knew how to do this. But you take those images, each one that has a meaning, you tie an affirmation to it that actually displays on the screen, and then you put music that's really meaningful, that really resonates with you behind it. You make it, about a 2-minute video, and then you watch it, at least a couple times a day, morning and night. And again, it imprints those images in your mind, and it helps you to be able to create that emotional connection that you need to really be able to get a strong picture in your subconscious mind. Because remember, the stronger the picture we create in our subconscious mind, the faster we're going to achieve that goal. So those are the 4 basic ways to do visualization. And over the next week, what our task is going to be is to be able to explore with these 4 ways, and pick one that really works for you, and say, okay, try 2 if you want. I've done them all, and so they're pretty good, and they're powerful. So just just play with it and say, okay, what one can I do? If you have questions, just shoot me the questions in our Facebook group. I'm happy to walk through them with you. I actually have a vision wall in my bedroom. I didn't really intend it to be that way, but that's what it has become, and I've realized that, so I just keep growing it. I also have vision boards that, that I use and I look at as well. So just shoot me questions in our Facebook group if you have any as far as creating these visualizations. Probably the easiest one to do is the pen and paper, and just take the time, make sure that you're detailed. Clarity is really, really important if we want to be able to apply the focus. And so take the time to really be able to do that. The pictures, you can pull pictures off of Google Images and print them and then paste them, or you can go to a magazine, or however you want to get it, but you want to be able to, you can do real life pictures, whatever it is that you want to be able to do. So that's going to be our task for this week as far as a visualization is concerned. And so just go ahead and, work on that. Have fun with it. Really enjoy it. It's fun stuff. So let your creativity really come to light.